Mike, thank you for that kind introduction. Appreciate it. I'm honored to be here tonight. Quick disclaimer, these are my views and my views only, and are not a reflection of the Department of Defense, Department of the Navy, or Naval Special Warfare Command. You know it's got to be good. Good evening. I would like to share a sentence with you. On order, SEAL team will conduct an assault in order to capture kill objective Troy. These 15 words made up the mission statement that my teammates and I would prepare for and conduct for years during the Iraq and Afghanistan wars. My responsibility as a SEAL officer was to lead the most hardened, steely-eyed, and methodically brilliant Navy SEALs onto a target in order to directly stare our country's adversaries square in the eye. During this time on target, there was only one outcome for my brothers and I. It was simply put, to win. I graduated from Gonzaga College High School in Washington, D.C. about 25 years ago. Gonzaga is an all-boys Jesuit high school which was started in 1821, a little earlier than Tampa Jesuit. Actually, as I think about it, one could factually say Tampa Jesuit is considered Gonzaga's little brother in the South. Okay, I'm outnumbered, I got it. About a year after graduation from college, I was commissioned as a naval officer and then trained to become a Navy SEAL. I have been assigned to SEAL Team 10, Naval Special Warfare Development Group, SEAL Team 8, all in Virginia Beach, Virginia. I've served our country for 19 years, now as a SEAL commander at US SOCOM on MacDill Air Force Base. Fellow Jesuit brothers, 3 words define what I value most from my high school experience. Tonight, I will share my thoughts on these 3. Grit, brotherhood, and selflessness. Grit. Grit was the most powerful self-defining attribute that I developed at Gonzaga. Let's not kid ourselves. The Jesuits are the top-notch order of Catholic priesthoods. It takes about 11 years and a lot of dedication to become a Jesuit priest. To become a Jesuit priest, it has to take grit. The demanding intellectual rigor that I experienced during my high school education included many late nights, fear of failure, and at times immense stress, which included self-doubt. At Gonzaga, I was a little better than an average student, surrounded by what felt like hundreds of geniuses. On top of that, my true love was basketball. I wasn't even recruited to play at Gonzaga, a perennial nationally ranked basketball team. It took hard work, dedication, and discipline to become the best player on my team senior year, which included 8 Division I players. It took grit. Grit is not something you are born with. Grit is not something that you can just chat GPT. Grit is not measurable on your Fitbit. Grit is a deep passion and perseverance to achieve a goal. Grit is strengthened through each obstacle one overcomes in order to achieve a goal. In order to become a Navy SEAL, it takes grit. In 2006, at the age of 23, I showed up to Navy SEAL training called BUDS, which stands for Basic Underwater Demolition School. BUDS has a reputation of being the most difficult military selection course in the world. Approximately 80% of those who attempt BUDS either quit or are performance dropped from training. During the 6-month course, you are constantly cold, wet, sandy, and exhausted. My BUDS class started with 182 candidates, and we graduated with 41. In May of 2006, we classed up to start one of the 3 phases of BUDS. On day 1, phase 1 of BUDS, candidates are broken into 7-man boat crews. Our class started with 26 boat crews. Besides having to pass multiple individual physical and mental evolutions in BUDS, your boat crew also has to work together daily to complete multiple team evolutions. Individual candidates learn the power of a team very quickly during the intense physical demands placed on each boat crew. And if they don't meet these standards, extra physical activities, which aren't so nice, are bestowed upon each member of the boat crew. During BUDS, you are tested and pushed physically and mentally beyond limits you can't imagine. You are told to do push-ups until your burning chest muscles give out and your face plants into the sand. You're told to lay on the sand, facing the freezing cold Pacific Ocean waves while the surf repeatedly crashes onto you. This is called surf torture. You and your boat crew are responsible for running miles with a 200-pound plus inflatable boat over your head in soft sand, traversing over berms until your arms or head give out. And at the start of each day of BUDS, you knew the upcoming day was going to be harder than yesterday. The secret to BUDS was to take each evolution one step or swim stroke at a time. After 3 weeks into phase 1 of BUDS, the first true milestone takes place. It is called Hell Week. Hell Week starts on Sunday and runs until Friday afternoon. The only time you sleep is for 2 hours on Wednesday afternoon and 1 to 2 hours on Thursday afternoon. On Monday night of Hell Week, when the sun is setting and the sharp chill of the night starts seeping through your wet uniform, many candidates who have been up for approximately 24 to 36 hours begin to quit. On Monday night of Hell Week, the BUDS bell rings eerily throughout the night. When candidates quit, they end up having to ring this bell 3 times to signify that they're done. After each ring, the class becomes that much smaller. Individuals and then boat crews vanish. As an officer, I was considered a boat crew leader. During Hell Week, my boat crew lost 1 teammate, something that I still think about to this day. Although only losing 1 teammate throughout Hell Week was considered very low, it was still a teammate who we lost to the bell. Hell Week is brutal, and one thing is a constant: everyone is exhausted. Come Tuesday morning, with about 48 hours of no sleep, all candidates are basically on the same level performance-wise. The fastest swimmers and runners are leveled out, and the entire class performs at an even pace. With individual performance evened out due to exhaustion, grit becomes the main factor to success. Each individual's grit is measured along with each boat crew's grit. The week turns from instructors weeding out individuals to instructors pushing boat crews to their maximum limits. The candidate's goal toward the end of the week becomes taking care of their boat crew by striving to win as many evolutions as possible in order to just be able to sit down for a couple minutes. The week becomes a game of winning through grit. It's fitting we are here tonight at a father-son dinner because throughout high school, college, and in the SEAL teams, my father was instrumental in instilling a never back down, never quit, and believe in yourself attitude. In fact, the Sunday morning before Hell Week started, I wrote something inside the bill of my Navy cap, which we all had to wear during Hell Week. It was my dad's cell phone number. I told myself the only way I was calling this number was to tell my dad I had successfully completed Hell Week. No other way. On Friday, June 30th, 2006, after Hell Week secured, with just 10 boat crews left, I completed medical checks, and around 4 p.m., after devouring an entire pizza, I called the number written in the bill of my hat to tell my dad I had completed Hell Week. It was a moment I will forever be proud of. It was a moment I achieved through pure grit. Not everyone has grit. Jesuit students, whether you are a freshman, sophomore, junior, or senior, by the time you graduate from Jesuit, you will have developed grit. However, your goal is not just to graduate, but to do the absolute best you can in everything you take on. Do not accept anything less than your best. When you complete a task and look back at it, ask yourself, did I do the very best I could? And if your answer isn't, yes, I did, that's okay. Learn from it, but don't let it happen again. There will be challenging times during your time at Jesuit and beyond, but that's what you want, because it's the challenges that will give you the opportunity to build your own grit. Whatever your passion is now, make it your goal and develop the grit to achieve it. Keep your eye on the prize. Never, ever quit. And at the end of the day, you will win with grit. Brotherhood. In high school, you will find your tight friend group who supports you through 4 years and beyond. But at Gonzaga, my high school, our whole class became a brotherhood. We met each other in the classrooms, on the fields, in the band room, in the theater. We learned more about each other in the homeless shelter on campus, where we worked during our lunch periods, in the local soup kitchens, where we volunteered before school, during the retreats, specifically Kairos, which we attended as upperclassmen, and in the wins and even losses we endured in sports. And then there were the shenanigans, like covertly firing up the Foreman grill and cooking hot dogs in the back of math class. And finally, after 4 years, we stood together on graduation day, committed to one another, knowing that we had formed a very special brotherhood. After Gonzaga, and then after college basketball, I found the SEAL team brotherhood. Although my brotherhood with my Gonzaga classmates is very different than with my SEAL teammates, one thing is common. Both brotherhoods have a sacred sense of belonging that is more powerful than any one individual. My SEAL brotherhood is captured best in our SEAL ethos, specifically in the sentence that reads, "I voluntarily accept the inherent hazards of my profession, placing the welfare and security of others before my own." It's a brotherhood built on the preservation of each other against our country's enemies. It's strengthened through the missions we conduct together on the battlefield. I will never forget my first mission in Iraq, assigned to SEAL Team 10. It was one of those capture-kill operations which I referred to earlier. That night, our team of 18 were able to quietly enter the house of a high-value target or terrorist and make our way through his home and into his bedroom. We were able to swiftly grab him while he was asleep in bed. This success was only made possible by the countless hours my teammates and I spent together training. We were so in sync with each other. We knew the silhouette, gait, body posture, and the movements of each teammate during these high-risk operations, which we conducted in the dark of the night. And during that first mission, as we cleared this terrorist home, it all came together. I had found my SEAL brotherhood. After any mission, we would always conduct a post-mission debrief with all the support personnel who worked tirelessly to get us out the door. These debriefs would be followed by an internal team debrief. During the closed-door internal team debriefs, we would discuss how the clearance of the target went. Every post-mission debrief that we conducted was factual and brutally honest. So honest that at times, guys would raise their voices and fists would clench. However, every debrief was conducted with one thing in mind: the love of our sacred brotherhood. We were hard on each other because failing our brothers in combat was the worst thing we could do. Eventually, any hostile steam from the debrief would settle, and we would be ready to move on to the next mission. This is what happens in brotherhoods. At times, there might be internal pain or disagreement. However, the power of the brotherhood does not allow it to destroy its base. My SEAL brotherhood is defined by our code to protect each other against our country's enemies. Just like my Gonzaga brotherhood contains a code to protect and look after each other. Simply put, this code is being a man for others, which also means being a man for each other. Selflessness. third quality that I developed in high school was being selfless, being a man for others. At Gonzaga, the slogan "Men for Others" was everywhere. On t-shirts, flags, bumper stickers. You couldn't go anywhere without seeing it. And you know what? As an underclassman, it initially felt awkward to aspire to be a man for others. It didn't seem tough or cool. And now I look back at how this motto was integral to my Gonzaga education. The many hours we spent at the poverty-stricken nursing home behind Gonzaga, the sessions we spent tutoring underprivileged elementary kids, the mornings at the homeless shelter soup kitchens, oftentimes feeding high school teenagers our same age. It was all very impactful. Being a man for others is something we lived every day in high school. Reflecting back on the first sentence I shared tonight, our SEAL, Capture Kill mission statement, some might argue that this statement really doesn't lend itself to being a man for others. However, as a Navy SEAL, I came across some opportunities to help those in need in some very unexpected situations. War. One word, 3 letters. 3 awful letters. War is hell. War is unfair. War is cruel. War sucks. However, as we all know, since the beginning of time, war happens. In 2011, I deployed into the mountains of Afghanistan. During this specific deployment, the risk my teammates and I would assume was extremely high. The remote valley we deployed to was considered one of the most hostile regions in the world. We were positioned on a rat line leading to and from Pakistan, through which the Taliban and other foreign fighters traveled across daily. For almost a year, my teammates and I lived in a mud hut in an Afghan village with no running water, no plumbing, no technology, basically just the absolute minimal necessities. At the age of 28, I was the ground force commander responsible for our team of about 60 Americans and 60 Afghans. Our Afghan partner force lived with us, fought with us, and helped us interact with the local populace. We were told our mission was a last-ditch effort to change the tide of the Afghan war and to try to rid the country of the Taliban, which would give the Afghan people back their country. There were a couple of significant events that I am proud of when I reflect back on this deployment. And it doesn't include a body count or a captured enemy combatant. One event happened on a sunny, hot July afternoon. Most of us were awake, having just returned from a mission earlier that morning. One of our guys, manning one of our walls, shouted out, "We have a person approaching our compound." The intelligence we had received over the last couple of months was that the Taliban were going to attempt to overrun the Americans living in the villages throughout Afghanistan, which sadly actually did happen a couple times. The intel stated the initial strike would take place by a lone fighter wearing a suicide vest. They would walk up to the front door, blow themselves up, and then enemy fighters would flow through the open door of our compound. The person walking towards us that afternoon was covered in multiple pieces of clothes and was definitely attempting to hide something. It was nerve-wracking. Our snipers, dressed in board shorts and flip-flops, were able to quickly grab their sniper rifles and position themselves advantageously on our roof, with their crosshairs locked on the head of the incoming person. The shot was easy. The tactical patience of doing the right thing was hard. We quickly sent a couple of our Afghan fighters out to stop the person, a couple hundred yards from our compound. Our Afghan partners were able to search the person. Minutes seemed like hours. After the search was complete, the person was led into a holding area just outside our compound's mud walls. As myself and my number 2 walked out to the holding area, we were shocked to find that the person was a female teenager. Females were never allowed to show their face, much less speak to any male other than their own husband or father in the Taliban-controlled area where we lived. This courageous young woman had come to us in a desperate need for a better life. The daily abuse from the Taliban and foreign fighters traveling through the rat line was unbearable, and she needed help. We were able to get a helicopter to our site that night and fly her through the mountains that surrounded us to a woman's shelter in Kabul, where she was able to start a better life for herself. Our snipers that day did not prematurely pull the trigger. They did not prematurely judge. They gave this person a chance. We protected this woman and got her to safety at some risk. Even in a war zone, in a terribly horrific situation like war, there are opportunities to be a man for others. Jesuit brothers, you have a brotherhood. You are developing grit, and you are being molded into a man for others. You will find your calling, and whatever that calling is, there will always be opportunities to selflessly help those in need. Look for those opportunities, and when they arise, be that man. Be a man for others. To all the fathers and sons, to my dad, and my 3 young sons, thanks for the opportunity to speak tonight. Nick, Kathy, thank you for inviting me. It is an honor to be here and something I will never forget. In the next few months or years, Jesuit-educated brothers, you will be faced with the what's next question, just as I will be since I'll be retiring from the Navy. While the challenge of a new career or college can and will seem daunting, we will lean on our foundational brotherhood and use our grit to succeed and win. And when you finally walk through that magnificent doorway facing Himes Avenue as a Jesuit High School graduate, just remember to prioritize others, and beyond everything else, never, ever stop checking in with each other. To my fellow men for others, and to my fellow dads, God bless and have a good night.